Hello, everybody. This is Mahadeva, the OG Thunder Wizard. Today, I want to talk to you about why does Vishnu incarnate? Why is it only the god Vishnu that incarnates into human form to save the world? I mean, there's in the Vedic tradition, there's all kinds of deities. Shiva is seen as the king of the gods. There's Hanuman, who is not an avatar of Shiva, but a vibration of Shiva. There is Brahma. There is all kinds of other gods in the Vedic Hindu pantheon. Why is it only the Vishnu avatars that come into human form and save human beings? So, as you know, in the Vedic Trinity, there are three deities. Obviously, it's a Trinity. There's Brahma, which is the creator. He represents the lower, I've got my hand over my navel. He represents the lower self, the navel area. And that represents the unconscious and the subconscious mind, the power of the navel to manifest physical reality. So you don't manifest physical reality through your third eye. A lot of people think that. They think if they project something through their third eye, they can create it. That's not where physical reality is projected from. It's projected from your lower self, your unconscious mind. That's why another reason why positive affirmations are a waste of time. Positive affirmations only work if your unconscious mind is like a mirror, just completely clean. Then, and only then, will your positive affirmations have any value. Because if you have any unconscious, unresolved patterns or issues, it doesn't matter what you say consciously. Your unconscious mind that has the power to create physical reality will negate. It'll veto anything that you tell yourself. So that's why, if you've known a lot of people who think that if I just keep thinking these positive thoughts, how many people do you know that, practice The Secret? After a while they talk about how miserable they are and how life never works out for them. Well, it's because all of that intellectualization doesn't accomplish anything. This is why mantra and ritual and energy work is necessary to be able to really gain the power to intend your reality, because you have to clean up your unconscious. So that's Brahma. You have Shiva, which is your third eye, your higher self. Shiva is the destroyer. But Shiva doesn't incarnate. He's here to destroy illusion. He's here to destroy and recreate. So Brahma is the creator, Shiva is the destroyer, Vishnu is the preserver. And the word Vishnu comes from the same word as village, the same root as village, right? People coming together. If you live in a village, that's your safe place. The village is there for each other. It helps to create a safe place. The beginning of it, the Vishnu, village, this actually means expansion of energy. So it's literally energy, pushing aside the boundaries so that life can exist. And in the Norse tradition, you have the Trinity Odin, Vili, and Ve. And that represents, Odin represents Shiva, Vili represents willpower, which is the navel, and Ve represents the heart center. And Ve means sacred space. And in fact, the temple in pre-Christian Germanic society was called the Ve. And so you weren't allowed to enter the Ve with any weapons, because the Ve is the heart center. And you never bring anything sharp or destructive. And when, in times past, when warring tribes were coming together to have peace meeting, they were required not to bring any weapons into that discussion because you have to come to an agreement. So Ve represents the heart center, it represents life, it represents compassion, it represents connection. And so the Vi in Vishnu, like in Ve, means to hold the space and protect it so that life can thrive. So Vishnu is the protector. So he doesn't come like Shiva does, which he comes to say, hey, listen, this whole crazy life is an illusion. Let's get to the truth of your spiritual essence, which is emptiness, nothingness. He's not Brahma who says, I'm here to create this illusion and get you really enmeshed in it. Vishnu says, no, I'm here to preserve your soul. So Vishnu is the soul, and the soul incarnates into human form to experience this life. So in order to experience this life, you must be given the space. The soul isn't part of three-dimensional reality. Your soul is more powerful than that. As I've said before, if your soul was to escape your physical body and stay in three-dimensional reality, it would start poking holes in it. Because the soul is beyond time, beyond space. It is far more powerful than anything this three-dimensional reality can contain. So in order for the soul to come and have a vacation, to play a video game, it has to take on this virtual reality meat suit, which is your body. And in there, it has to have a safe place where it can store itself, and that is your heart center. And your heart center is surrounded, the soul is surrounded by this energy, which, as you know, I teach here, which is called the lightning power, which is the heart mind, which is made of feminine energy, fire, and it is lightning. And it stays normally self-contained, the lightning bouncing back and forth, and the soul bounces around in there. And it keeps the soul protected from the harshness of three-dimensional reality, because in three-dimensional reality, people can lie to you, people can hurt you, people can use you, people can betray you. And so to protect the soul from that, the lightning surrounds it. But the soul is able to interact through this physical meat bag, three-dimensional suit, and it can experience everything through the senses and experience life in three-dimensional reality. So Vishnu represents that. Vishnu represents the soul incarnating. In fact, avatar means descend, to descend into physical reality. And it's very much like the movie Avatar, where somebody's consciousness goes into a cloned being, and it goes off and lives in this other realm, but the consciousness is back somewhere else. So this is your experience. You've descended into this physical life just like Vishnu. In fact, you are Vishnu. So Vishnu represents the highest of incarnated human reality. So, why is this important? And why is it that Vishnu is the only one that incarnates? He incarnates to destroy negativity. So when the human race is under threat of destruction from corruption of all different kinds, when the human race is under threat of corrupt, evil forces taking over the world and holding human beings hostage or damaging or hurting people, every time that happens, Vishnu, according to the Vedic tradition, incarnates, and he does battle with the evil demons and destroys them so that human beings can flourish once again. And this cycle continues. It happens, human beings flourish, and they end up in trouble. So there's some kind of evil force that comes after them or threatens their existence. And every time there is this unavoidable incarnation of Vishnu who comes and destroys the evil. And I was thinking about this because I myself, as you know, about a month ago, I had a red pill experience, which I won't get into, but absolutely destroyed my perception of the world. And I became aware that we are now in one of those times. We are in one of those periods where the human race is under direct attack by evil, corrupt forces at the highest levels. And when I saw that, and I'm thinking about it on a daily basis, I realized that human beings are, the human race is under serious threat. And I was looking into something called the Looking Glass Project. Maybe you've heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, go search for it on wherever you want, Google or YouTube. Plenty of stuff about it. I have no idea if it's true or not. The truth is, anybody can say anything, and it's very hard for us to find these things out. The other thing is that I've come to realize that there is no real true media. There's really no true news source. I mean, you can't fact check things. The fact checkers, we need to fact check the fact checkers. And so that's difficult because, as people have been saying to me for years, I don't know who to believe. And I spend a lot of time saying, certain aspects of the media you can trust because they're journalists and et cetera, and that isn't true. We are being lied to on, just such it's unbelievable the amount of lies that we are being lied to. It's confusing because most of the people who are trying to point out the lies, most of them are also conflating with untruths, half-truths, actual non-existent conspiracies, crazy, the people that are giving you partial truths are also hardcore born-again Christians, or they've got serious mental or emotional problems, or they're new agey lunatic nutbags, but they happen to have some of the truth, and that's what makes it confusing. So I understand when people say, I don't know who to believe. I understand. So when it comes to the Looking Glass Project, I have no idea if it's true or not. I believe that what they are saying about it, the essence of it is true. The specifics, I don't know, but I find it very interesting. So the Looking Glass Project, if you've seen the movie Contact, apparently that is a larger version of this thing called the Looking Glass, which is, as I understand it, came from plans, like physical, drawings and plans dating all the way back to the first empire in the world, which was the Sumerian, the very beginnings of the Sumerian Empire. Apparently they somehow, from somebody, maybe aliens or the gods or whomever, they were given this ability to create this device. And if you use this device, you can see into the future. And so leaders throughout the world from the beginning of time, which would be the beginning of empires, which would be the Sumerian Empire, the leaders, the elite, have been using this device to be able to know how to stay in control. Because if you know the future, then you can manipulate events so that you can stay in control. And apparently the US military has one of these devices and uses it, or has used it, to control events who knows how long. And We kept on hearing about 2012, that when you reach the year 2012, it's the end of the world. And 2012 came and went, and it wasn't the end of the world. I remember 2012. I remember, people I remember people thinking the world was going to end, and there was a lot of fear. And 2012 came and went, nothing happened. So according to whomever is giving out this story about the Looking Glass Project, whenever they would use the device, it would give you different timeline possibilities. And so these people were looking at how they could manipulate events so that they could create timelines that gave them power. And what they found was that no matter what they did, they would reach this point at 2012 where the timelines would converge. And then they wouldn't know, after that there'd be nothing. In some of the stuff some of the versions of this, the people who are viewing this end up reaching this point of complete enlightenment, where they are filled with love and compassion and are connected to everything and have all knowledge and all of that. And that what they're saying is that what happened at 2012 is that they were no longer able to manipulate that actually, from, if I heard it right, from 2012 on, no matter what the elites did to try and create their negative timeline, which would keep them in power, there was this huge event that resulted in everybody's awareness of the truth. And they lost their power. And talks about it's beyond our comprehension, beyond their comprehension, that whatever it was that happens as a result of this convergence at 2012, whatever ends up coming out of that is so monumental and so unavoidable, of the removal of their power to manipulate. It was so phenomenal that it drove them to a panic. And the reason why I find that really interesting is because now that I am red-pilled and I see what is going on, which I can't talk about on this channel, when I see what is going on, it is obvious to me. I mean, it's just undeniably obvious that there is a cabal of very rich and powerful people who are trying to create a worldwide catastrophe that they can use to control the population. And so the main thing, well, I think they're doing multiple things, but one of the main things that they're doing with this manipulation of this current crisis that is happening, the main result of that is to create fear and then to be able to manipulate people's perception of what's happening in the world through fear. And for reasons I can't talk about here, it's absolutely undeniable to me that that is definitely the case. That there is a complete, total hijacking of all of the information streams, governments, military, technology, complete control by these people. But it is also obvious to me that they are desperate, that they are overreaching, that they're trying so hard to force their control over not just one country, which they could do. They could pick one country and control that. But they're not doing that. They're trying to control the entire world. And it's this all-out blitz. And it's already starting to fall apart. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't any danger, because the most dangerous, um, tyrant is when they're desperate. When they're about to lose control is when they become the most desperate. They're like a cornered animal. They've got nothing to lose. So in other words, they know that their time is running out. And the question is how long it's going to be before they run out of time. And in the meantime, can they force this negative timeline to come about as a result of your fears? And so I'm wondering if this event that these whistleblowers are talking about, which is that they don't know what the event is, they just know that the elites are scared to death of it, that it's something that when it occurs will completely, totally take away thousands of years of control from them that they've had over the world. Through various means. I mean, now looking at it now, capitalism was one way, communism was one way, fascism was one way, serfs, SERFs. In the Middle Ages, you had the rulers in the castles, and you had the serfs. So you had the Middle Ages, you had the Romans. What would you call that? I don't even know what that is. The Greeks had their way of controlling the world. The Persians, every empire had, whatever kind of politics you want to call it. And these were different incarnations of simply the elites who are looking to manipulate human reactions to reality so that they can control perception. If they can control your perception, they can control you. So there's some event coming as a result of this convergence of timelines that happened at 2012, which effectively ended the world. So and the Mayans were an empire, by the way, as well. So if the Mayans saw the end of the world at 2012, that would have meant, the rulers of the Mayan Empire, with whatever, technology they had, they would have seen, oh my God, we're going to lose power. It's the end of the world. So it's not the end of the world. Obviously it wasn't. 2012 came and went. It was the end of the ability of the elites to have unlimited control over human perception and manipulation of entire populations. All right? So it makes me think, is Vishnu coming? Is Vishnu coming? So what is Vishnu again? Do I literally believe that Vishnu is going to come down from the clouds like Jesus coming down from the clouds? I honestly, at this point, I would believe anything. So I know less now than I ever have. My feeling is no. I don't think that's what it means. I don't think it means that Vishnu is going to come down from the clouds. It's too easy. That would not be an evolutionary event. That would regress humans into a state of looking up and giving their power over to some super being. That doesn't make sense to me. But what does make sense to me is what Vishnu represents. Vishnu represents the heart, represents the soul. He represents human beings being completely driven and led by only their soul and nothing else. That's what Vishnu represents, the purity of living from the soul. And so I think what's going to happen is, perhaps very soon, I think what's going to happen is that human beings are going to either voluntarily awaken to their pure soul nature and drop all of the nonsense and follow their soul, or they are going to be forced into doing so by the pressure of the elites who are panicking and overreaching. And, whenever you overreach, you make yourself vulnerable. This is something true about martial arts. So whether you're a boxer, you're waiting for the other guy to commit to something, and when he goes for the jab, he's now vulnerable. So you wait to see him, you wait for his tell. So he's about to throw that jab, and as you see that muscle twitch, you pop. You go in and you pop him before he can pop you. You wait till he opens up. If he's going to do a big, right cross or a left hook, he's going to open himself up, and then you jab, boom, boom. You wait until they give you an opening. If it's jiu-jitsu, you're wrestling around, and you wait till somebody commits to something, and when they do that, they make themselves available, and then you can grab their arm and grab their leg, their neck, whatever it is. And so this is what's happening with the elites. They are committing to things, and it's a last gasp. They're going for the knockout. So because they've put everything into this last power shot to take out the world, they've made themselves incredibly vulnerable on multiple fronts. Because, look, I was completely, totally, 100% snowed by the information stream. I believed the information that was coming to me. I saw it as the truth. I believed it to be the truth. And I had no intention. I wasn't somebody that doubted journalism. I didn't doubt it. I believed in it. I believed in the free press and journalism. I believed in democracy. I believed in the workings of democracy. Yeah, our government wasn't perfect, but democracy works. I believed in that. And all it took was one serious flaw in the elites' agenda, because it's very clear now. I mean, their agenda now is absolutely clear to me. And it's because they overreached to such an extent that they made some mistakes. And those mistakes became so obvious, I was literally seeking to debunk what I thought to be conspiracy theories. And when I looked at one specific conspiracy theory, I looked to debunk it, and I found it to be true. And once I found that one to be true, the other logical conclusions, which were unavoidable for me, started to then fall like dominoes. And before I knew it, all of the conspiracy theories that I had been trying to debunk turned out to be true on levels that I could not have even begun to imagine. And the only reason that happened is because they overreached. If they weren't reaching so hard, if they weren't trying so hard, I would have blissfully been part of the narrative for the rest of my life. They could have continued to own the world and manipulate me and manipulate the rest of society to get what they wanted, but the greed is too much. The greed that they have is so insatiable, just like Fenris's appetite. It's insatiable. And because of that, it's obvious that they believe that they are about to lose everything. And so in a last-ditch attempt to change the narrative and take control of the world, they are overreaching, and they are it's unbelievable. It's really hard for me to comprehend. So their behavior, their panic, and their desperation, and their nothing to lose, because it feels like that. We've got nothing to lose. Let's throw everything at the human race. And I don't know what the end result of it is. I can only begin to, but as I start thinking about it, I get a headache. It hurts. So I don't want to go down that path. It doesn't matter because they're not going to succeed. Whatever is coming is going to reveal the truth about who they are, about what their agenda is, about what they've been doing, and about the lies that they've been telling for thousands and thousands of years. Those of you who've been following my channel, whom I have attacked and shamed, as I said, I was wrong for the right reasons. Many of you are conflating your own fears and your own projections and your own superstitions and your own lack of critical thinking onto your actual accurate intuitions that are telling you that they're out to get us. And because you haven't had, in my estimation anyway, accurate understanding and logic and facts behind you, because I could find obvious, superstition and childish projections onto facts, it was easy for me to gaslight you, tell you didn't know what you were talking about. Your instincts were right. Your instincts were right. They have been doing it to us. Now, I would have been fine if they hadn't overreached, because I do live from my soul, and I would have been, like I said, I would have, navigated through their nonsense, and I would have stayed bulletproof. But now they have pushed the envelope so hard that I had to wake up, because my physical safety is now under threat, potentially. And my freedoms are being curtailed. And so now I have to wake up, say, hey, hang on here. And I can feel the pressure. I have to do this, or I have to do this. And so now I'm awake. And so I'll still be bulletproof, God willing, and the creek don't rise. But the answer is still the same. The solution to the problem is still the same. The solution is you listen to your soul. You listen to Vishnu. You listen to your soul, and what your soul tells you you want to do, the thing that gives you the greatest joy, that is Vishnu saving you from the corruption of evil people. I got questions in the last live stream of somebody asking, I have a choice between doing this and this. I don't want to do this, but if I don't do this, I'll lose my job. What should I do? And my only answer to that is, are you willing to give up your physical freedom in order to keep a job? Any job, what job is worth you throwing your power of choice, your freedom, your individuality? What job is worth that? So that's just a question. I can't tell you what to do. But everybody's going to have to make that choice. And this is the choice that all people throughout time have always had to make, which is when you come into this physical life, there are two things you came here to do. The first one is to live your Dharma, which is your soul. For me, my Dharma is to surf, to work for myself, and to live in beautiful tropical foresty areas. That's my Dharma. That's the highest spiritual act I can make on this planet. And so I'm leaving a place that I've loved living here for 2.5 years, which is in Queensland, Australia, in the rainforest, and beautiful semi-tropical, wonderful place to live. And now I'm going to make a change, and I'm going to go to Costa Rica, and I'm going to go to an even more jungly, tropical surfing paradise. That's my Dharma. Your karma. So you come here to live your Dharma and to work through your karma. Your karma is always the same. It will always be some manifestation of you having to choose between what your soul wants and what the world wants. And the world can be anything. It's other people saying, in order for you to be accepted, you have to do this, and then I will love you, I will accept you. So your karma is your job saying, if you don't do this one thing you don't want to do, you can't work here. It's your government saying, if you don't do this, then you are now no longer a good person in our society. It's your parents saying, if you don't do what we've told you to do, then you're no son of mine, I don't love you anymore. It's your wife or your husband telling you, if you don't do what I want, I won't love you anymore. So whenever you're put in the position to choose between your soul, which is your true identity, and being accepted or loved, that's your karma. And some people's karma is to make some very tough choices and to choose their soul over the acceptance, and some really, really frightening scenarios for some people. But that's your karma. If you do not choose your soul, if you choose being accepted and loved by others, you have created more karma. You can be guaranteed you will have to come back again and face that same problem, but it'll be harder the next time. So I have to say, the things that I've been very happy about my freedom. I've really enjoyed being able to, at this stage of my life, just pick up and move and do whatever I want. But it's been a little lonely. And sometimes that's been hard on my ego. Until now, I realize, holy crap, I am so lucky that I don't have a house, I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, I don't have all this stuff attaching me anywhere. I can pick up and move as long as, whatever country is there has internet and will let me come into their country. I'm free to go wherever I want. So I'm really lucky about that. I must have done something right in a past life to give myself this much freedom right now, because right now it's very challenging for a lot of people. And I'm lucky here. I'm in Australia. I can leave because I'm an American. I'm not an Australian citizen. If I was an Australian citizen, I wouldn't even be able to leave. Forget about coming into the country. They won't even let you leave the country. It's crazy times. When has anything like that ever happened? So what do you think? Do you think that Vishnu is coming? Do you think that Vishnu will come down from the clouds and appear and magically take away the power of the elite? Do you think it will be just a worldwide vibration that will happen? Do you think there will be some cataclysm that'll change things? Do you think it'll be a slow erupting of consciousness, or will it be just an event that comes and changes everything? Here's what I know. What I know is that we live in a quantum field. And that means I owe it to you to work as hard as I can to be honest and truthful with myself, to become aware as I did. And to my credit, the moment that the cracks in the matrix, the moment I saw the glitch in the matrix, I did not seek to lie to myself and convince myself it was okay. The moment I saw the glitch, I went, hang on a second. Something's wrong here, and I'm going to dig until I find out what it is. It was a horrific experience. I still hate it. I wish that I could forget some things that I know. There are things I can't unknow. There are things that I've seen that I can't unsee. And those are very painful and traumatic for me. But I would much rather know the truth. And so to my credit, my critical thinking gave me the ability to acknowledge that I had an emotional agenda for something to be true. I had the ability to go, I really don't want this to be true, but critical thinking says you can't force your agenda onto objective reality. So I'm lucky. There's a lot of people that are having a lot harder time because they have wives and kids and parents and jobs, and for them to come to that conclusion is a lot more difficult because it means they have to potentially lose friends, family, jobs. It's very challenging for a lot of people right now. But what I know is that we live in this quantum field. And in this quantum field, when I choose to follow my soul, that vibrates on the whole quantum field, and everybody, every single, even those who are in the cabal, even the elites controlling the world, even their commitment to their evil, selfish agenda is minimized a little bit because I did my part to work on myself. So your part is the same. Vishnu isn't one separate being. Vishnu is all of our hearts in this quantum field. And when the quantum field of heart-centered reality vibrates, Vishnu appears through us. And when we all wake up and we refuse to accept the lies that are being given to us, when we reject the false perception of the reality that the elites have been snowing the world with for thousands of years, when we reject that awareness, the quantum field raises itself to a level, and they know that this is coming. They're desperately, desperately trying to keep it from happening, but they know it's coming. So my message to you is worship Vishnu, which is your soul. Worship your omnipotent individual power. Everything I've said up till this point is still true, which is do not buy into the fear. Do not let them control how you perceive yourself. You are more powerful than any elite. Because what do they want to do? They want to use technology to control you. They think that they can control you with technology. They cannot comprehend. They are scared to death of the power of individual freedom that comes through spiritual awareness. They try to take spiritual things and use them in black magic ways to run the world, but they don't understand the true power of it. So whatever path that you have that connects you to your heart, do that with everything that you have, because it will save you. If you want my help, I've got this stuff here. You can go to thunderwizard.com and click on Warrior 90-Day Challenge, and you can subscribe. You'll have member-only videos. You can just click play, and I talk you through the exercises, and it will open up this power of the heart-mind, which surrounds your soul, which will give you direct access in your physical body and your mind to the power of your soul. You will have that much more ability to get rid of the lies and the programming. You can do the elite practice here. You can go to any one of my links and look for stuff, or you can do the free practices on my channel. You can go to my playlists and do the Qigong practices, the Awakening the Immortals, the Hool Breath. Now, there's no shortage of things. I hope that if you need something, that you can come to my channel and find it. If you have money and you want to get some of this great stuff and support me in my move to Costa Rica, great. These links are there for you. You don't have any money you don't want to pay? No problem. My gift to you is do whatever of the free practices you can, because the truth is there's nobody in the world that has enough time to master the free stuff. The free stuff is enough to give you everything you've ever wanted. The truth is that what I want for you is I want you to be fully empowered. I want you to be God on earth. I want you to be Vishnu. And whatever I can do to help the collective unconscious of the human race rise up to its true status as Vishnu, God incarnate. That is all that I care about. All right? So there you go. Vishnu is coming. What that means, I don't know. Worship him with all that you have, which is just worshiping your own soul. And we can sit and grab our popcorn and watch the elites crumble, because that's what's happening. They're on their way out. This is their last gasp, and then they're going to be gone. All right, guys, take care. I wish you all the best. I'll see you on the channel soon.